Jesus was a rabbi and a Jew. Is it not crossing the line for one rabbi to hand over another rabbi to be killed by pagans?
Jesus was a blaspheming, seditious rabbi, and I did not know for sure that he would be killed.
But the penalty for sedition was crucifixion, correct?
That was the Roman charge, not mine.
Yes, your charge was blasphemy. And what was the penalty for blasphemy,
Your
Caiaphas?
Honor, I will not sit here and be blamed for the death of Christ yet again.
No one's blaming you for the death of Christ, Caiaphas. I'm simply asking you a question which I'm directing at you to answer before this court. You charged Jesus with blasphemy. What was the penalty for blasphemy, Caiaphas?
Stoning followed by hanging.
So then, how can you sit there and pretend that you didn't know for sure that Jesus would be killed?
Jesus could have easily saved himself.
Saved himself how?
By retracting his blasphemous claims. Our Torah has 613 sacred laws. I can't even count how many Jesus broke or treated with wanton disregard and disdain. He broke the laws that came from the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He violated the word of God. He violated the laws of Moses. He consorted with the unclean and women and prostitutes. He performed miracles on the Sabbath. He proclaimed himself Messiah. He forgave sin. Who was he to forgive sin? Only God can do that. If that's not crossing the line, then I don't know what is.
Jesus was fulfilling your Old Testament prophecies of Isaiah to the letter.
He was also fulfilling prophecies in Deuteronomy that warned against false messiahs and marvel workers. It would have been one thing had he confined himself to the forests and rivers, spouting his ravings as the Baptists did. But at the great temple, I would have been derelict not to put a stop to it. He was whipping people, kicking them, threatening to destroy the temple, calling it a den of thieves. If someone did that in your St. Patrick's Cathedral, would you not arrest them?
And yet Judas Iscariot, who came forward in the face of this great threat, was in your eyes not a patriot, but a traitor. A traitor who, in your words, disgusted you. Why is that, Caiaphas?
Because he handed Jesus over for money.
And why did you hand Jesus over, Caiaphas?
The words and deeds of Jesus were leading to rebellion. And the price of rebellion under Roman rule was a bloodbath, a massacre, counselor. So I determined that it was better to have one man dead than 1,000. That's why.
I see. So you were looking out for the common Jewish man, correct?
I was.
And were you a common Jewish man, Caiaphas?
In the eyes of God, we're all the same.
How about in the eyes of the common Jewish man? You were seen as an aristocrat, weren't you?
I came from wealth.
Would you say you were popular with the common Jewish man?
My job was a sacred one, not a popularity contest.
The high temple taxes you inflicted upon your people. Would you say that made you more popular or less popular with the common Jewish man?
Objection, Julius. Vixen is budgeting.
Sustained.
The exchange rates at the temple were also extremely unfavorable to the common Jewish man and the purification pools outside the temple, where the common Jewish man was required by law to be cleansed before being permitted to enter the temple. The purification pools weren't free either, were they?
Cunningham.
No, I'll answer. The laws were the laws and the rates were the rates.
And did you have a sliding scale for the poor?
No.
So the poor, who constituted a large percentage of the common Jewish man at that time, remained impure and unclean and were denied the right of worship?
You've made your point.
No, I don't think I have, Caiaphas. Your position did not require you to be popular with the common Jewish man, did it?
My position required me to answer to God.
And did God appoint you high priest of the Sanhedrin?
It was with God's blessing.
It was with Rome's blessing, Caiaphas. You were appointed by Rome. And at the end of the day, for the 18 years that you served, that's who you had to answer to, and that's who you were required to be popular with. And the day that you showed Rome that you couldn't handle your own people was the day you'd been thrown out on your ass. Isn't that right?
I belonged to God, not Rome. My job was to uphold the 613 sacred laws and to protect my temple and my people. And that's what I did.
And was not Jesus of Nazareth one of your people? Whether he was a Messiah or a prophet or a holy man or a crazy man, was he not one of your own? And was it not considered the height of treachery to betray Jewish blood to your oppressors? Come on, Caiaphas. Tell us that it did not prick your conscience to turn Jesus, a fellow Jew, over to the Romans. Tell us that handing a fellow rabbi over to a certain death at the hands of the enemy didn't violate your sense of crossing the line and your knowledge of the law. Tell us, Caiaphas, that at the end of the day there was a difference in the eyes of God between what you did and what Judas did. This is purgatory, Caiaphas. I've got all day.
In terms of result, no difference.
How about in terms of follow-through? Judas recanted and tried to return the silver, did he not?
He did.
And did you, Caiaphas, do anything at all to try to prevent Jesus' death?
No.
And therein lies the real difference between you and Judas Iscariot, does it not? And yet you sit there and say that Judas disgusted you and that he crossed the line. And if that's true, Caiaphas, then I wonder how you must have felt about yourself.
That's between me and God.
Well then, Caiaphas, for your sake, I sure hope your God has a more forward-thinking attitude than Judas's God does. Step down, you're excused.
Caiaphas, Judas approached you. Yes?
Yes.
He didn't have to approach you, did he?
No.
And yet he did.
Yes.
Of his own free will.
Yes.
And accepted payment for his betrayal.
Yes.
Payment. He did not say, Caiaphas, yeah, put your money away. This one's on the arm, correct?
Correct.
I think we can all appreciate the precarious position you were in, Caiaphas Theater, in trying to protect your people from Roman reprisal.
And it makes you feel good to say that, doesn't it? After 2,000 years of persecution and vilification, you finally get around to saying, hey, we know it wasn't you and your people's fault. Is that it?
Caiaphas Theater, I was only trying
To win your case, right? I tell you what. You people call me, I come. You question, I answer. But please, never say that you realize the position I was in. Because you have no idea the position I was in. And never try to excuse or forgive me because I don't want your forgiveness. God's forgiveness, this interests me. Yours, I could care less. Why? Because you have no idea. The people who need forgiving, the people who perpetrated the lies and exaggerations that became sacrosanct fact and led to hatred and violence for the past 2,000 years, they're the ones who need forgiving. And not by you, but me. Me and my people. It's the writers of the gospel who need forgiveness, not me, no sir. I know what it is to suffer. Do you? I don't think so. Julius. My best to Frank.
Caiaphas Theater, you are a handsome man.
If I am, it's because God made me, not because you said so. Good day.
My name is Thomas. The Last Supper, I was the first one to say that I would die for Jesus. I was also the first one to head for the hills doing 90 when the Romans came and arrested him. And then, after Jesus resurrected himself, I was the guy who said I wouldn't believe he was who he said he was unless I could see with my own eyes the holes in his hands and personally inspect them and touch them. Like I was some sort of medical examiner, like Quincy or something. The thing was, Jesus showed them to me. Not only that, he let me touch them. In a ministry based entirely on the virtues of faith, he gave me proof. I had no faith, and he gave it to me for free. Now, I don't know why I got the benefit of my doubt and Judas didn't get help with his. And I'm not saying it because I like the guy, because personally, I thought Judas was a bit of a jerk-off. Actually, fucking dick would be more accurate. Judas was the type of guy, at least with me, where 1 minute he's your best friend, the next minute he's making fun of you in front of everybody. Like he used to say that the reason that Jesus had to do the miracle of the loaves and the fishes was because I ate all the food when nobody was looking. Stuff like that. And then other times, he could be real nice.